Hi guys, welcome to my latest Bite Size Rangers episode. A wee bit more unusual than the others, and normally in my Bite Size Rangers I look at historical facts about Rangers and discuss them in a short format, looking at things like the St Etienne bike and such. In this one, I'm going to look at quite an interesting aspect of yesterday's Celtic v Rangers game at Parkhead, and something I think a lot of people are missing the point, or actually missing the importance of one aspect of the penalty claim. Now, before I start, just to get it clear, 24 hours after the game now, heads clear, no kicking the furniture in the house because Rangers get beat with Celtic. That time's passed. Disappointed obviously at the time, but just want to clarify, I don't think Rangers deserve to win. I think, can't complain we get beat. If we'd got a draw, probably maybe a bit fairer result, and I think if we'd have won, we'd have been very, very fortunate. So just putting that out there, this isn't a we should have won that game rant. This is just an interesting point for yesterday's developments that I think a lot of people are missing. So obviously, going to be talking about the penalty, the handball penalty claim. So let's look at what happened first of all in order, and then give you my slant on the important part that I think people have missed. Rangers play, ball looks as if it's going out of play, Seaman on the touchline, might have got it if there's no interference, hits a Celtic defender in the hand and goes out for a corner. Remember that, corner. The referee's decision, and the linesman obviously who's there to assist him, give a goal kick. There's then a stop, VAR are checking for a potential penalty. Those of us that are watching at home on TV or in the pubs and TV are shown the replay, and I didn't see it as live, but when you seen one of the shots, you think, geez, that's definitely hit his hand, and his hand's here. It's no here, next to his body or any of these things that can prevent a handball being a penalty kick. So I think majority of people watching at home and having the benefit of that replay are thinking, it's a penalty, Stonewaller. Shot corner, 30 seconds later, no penalty. And another key component of this is goal kick, play restarts. And off we go. And I think from memory it was probably about 5 to 10 minutes before the half-time break. We then have the 15-minute half-time break. And then about 5 or 10 minutes into the game, into the second half, suddenly Crocker, the Sky pundit, gives us 2 bits of information. And the second bit I think's been overlooked. And this isn't the big thing I think's been overlooked. This is just a subsequent point to remember. He declares about 5-10 minutes into the second half that it appears they're not getting the penalty. It was overruled because of an offside, which seems to have been accepted by loads of people about why there was no penalty given. But he then said something, and this is not verbatim, and I've not watched the match back, but bear with me and give me a wee bit of wiggle room on this one. He said something along the lines of, and Willie Collum has got direct access to our earpieces, it would have been good if Willie Collum had told us about the offside, which tells me there's obviously some discussions between Sky and Willie Collum in the VAR room. Now I thought that was an odd thing to say at the time when he said about Willie Collum, and my ears pricked up. I thought, so Willie Collum has got the ability to say something 20 minutes or 30 minutes ago when the thing took place, and there's been nothing. And if there is communications between VAR and Sky, it's there for a reason, but it took 20-30 minutes for them to get any information, and it still didn't come from source. So somebody else gave them that information, which I thought was peculiar, and that's the way my head works. Everybody else is watching the games going, oh well, it's offside, and I'm thinking, what was that comment about? And the other thing that I immediately grabbed on was, but it was a goal kick. If it's an offside, the game would have restarted to be an indirect free kick, not a goal kick. Now, people say, what difference does it make? But I'll tell you what difference it makes. If the referee had given, there's only 2 possible outcomes there. immediately. And we'll come into does the offside come into it later on. There's only two outcomes when you see that thing happen live that are possibly correct. The goal kick's not correct because the last person to touch the ball is a Celtic player. So the only two outcomes are it's a corner or it's a penalty. Now, you could then argue, but then you need to take the clock back and, the offside then becomes a thing. Granted, I'll give you that. But the only two decisions that referee can make at that time that would be correct, pending going back in time, is a penalty or a corner. Now, let's say that the referee has seen the last touch of the ball and had actually at that precise moment pointed to the corner flag to give Rangers a corner. Then VAR would kick in and go, hold on, we're going to have a look at a penalty here. And then VAR would go, oh, that is a handball, because this is, we're led to believe how it all worked out. Oh, that was a handball. However, in the build-up to that, there was offside. But the referee had chose one of the correct options and awarded a corner. Would that play then have started with a corner, because they just ignore the penalty? Or would it have started with an indirect free kick to Celtic? I think the obvious answer is it would have been Celtic. You can't give Rangers the corner because your VAR has noticed that there was an offside. So you can't go, we'll just ignore the offside and give a corner. So that's my whole point on this. How the game restarted is paramount to try to decipher what actually happened. So therefore, this offside fallacy wasn't part of the VAR penalty decision thinking, or the game would have quite simply started with the indirect free kick, as with any offside restart. So, and I think it's one of the craziest things. Now, this is, again, you've got to use a bit of logic here and sometimes think outside being a Rangers fan. The first person I seen online marry my thoughts about, well, it didn't restart as a indirect free kick, was the ex-referee Stephen Conroy. Now, Stephen is no longer a referee, and he is a self-proclaimed Celtic fan. And he came out and said a couple of things, and one of them matching exactly what I said, but the game restarted with a goal kick. And fair play to him, to be fair. And see, Stephen's I've already spoke about this in one of the podcasts I've done with Chris Jack, the journalist, who has come out and said, I'm a Rangers fan. And I said, referees, journalists, TV presenters, they're born in the west of Scotland with a passion for football. There wouldn't be, but referees are presenting football programmes or writing about football. They're not allowed by normal rules to declare whether they support Rangers or Celtic. And I think that's a bit bizarre, to be honest with you, because I think statistically it's got to be about 80% of folk born in the west of Scotland that like football would support either Rangers or Celtic. And you're not allowed to say it. And even since he came out as a Celtic fan, that sounds a bit bizarre, doesn't it? But I suppose there is a bit of that to it. When he did come out and say he was a Celtic fan, he also said that when he was in the SFA refereeing list, he had to tell me he was a Barton fan. And I'm not saying that every single person involved in football must declare if they support Rangers or they support Celtic. I think they should be down to them. And if they want to turn around and say I'm a Celtic fan and I'm a Rangers fan, then so be it. But the reason Stephen said he didn't do it is because it might have affected his refereeing assignments. Bizarre world we live in. Anyway, back to the point. So that's where we're at. I mean, and it is, the whole defining thing on this is the restart. People want to dismiss it. But if he'd given a corner, which would have been a more accurate and proper decision, because it did touch a Celtic player last. Debate then is, did it happen in a penalty? Did it happen, you can hit your hand in your arm in instances and know what would be penalties. So if it gave the corner initially, that'd have been probably a more accurate decision. and then VAR was looking at the penalty. And if that had happened, there's not a hope in hell the game would have restarted with a corner. The game would have restarted with a free kick in the proper place. So he totally dismissed this. It's bollocks, and I genuinely think there's something untoward here. And I hope that Rangers do get what they've asked for, and I find it highly unlikely they will, that the audio during that decision-making process will be made public. I just simply can't see it happening, because I do genuinely believe, because of what happened after it, something strange has happened in that 30 seconds that they took to decide that was not a penalty at Rangers. And the other thing to back that up is, normally when you get the offside ones, the information's on Sky with a line within, 30 seconds, a minute. Because they use that information to go, yep, there's a line there, yep, he's offside, right, so you can't get a penalty. So the actual diagram, the video is there immediately before the decision is put to the referee. So the fact that didn't come out for 20 or 30 minutes is a bit bizarre as well. And then there was another mad thing. Dessers, right? Now Dessers, like probably half of the city of Glasgow, when he breaks down the inside left channel and he's being down in goals, I'm screaming at a telly, shoot. And he didn't. And then when that play broke down, I was absolutely raging with him, and I'm thinking, why don't we just shoot? It was one of the I don't know what to do, I'll do nothing scenarios where I don't know what he was hoping would happen, but just as soon as he entered that 18-yard box, just bang it. And then you look at what happened once the emotions of the game come off, and you actually you seen the replay again, and you think he was fouled. I'm not suggesting he still shouldn't have shot. I think as soon as he enters 18-yard box, his decision is I'm shooting here. So I'm not trying to justify why he missed, but it was just another bizarre incident, and it seems to have been totally ignored. And I didn't watching the game on the TV over there live at the time was shouting for a penalty. I was too busy getting upset with him not shooting, to be perfectly honest with you. So there we go. Quite a bizarre, some bizarre situations in the game, and that's becoming quite norm, to be honest with you, with Rangers Celtic games, unfortunately. But this one, that penalty thing, how the game restarted, absolute bonkers to me. I can't see the logic in it, and there we go. But the records will show it was a 2-1, and to be fair, I think Rangers, after they went down to 10 men, showed more bite in the next and final part of the game than they had in the lead up to it. And if they had the same sort of desire and drive for the 90 minutes, the game could have possibly been a different outcome. Could the VAR decisions influence the outcome? Quite probable. But again, looking at the 90 minutes, I think a draw might have been a fairer result, but I don't think we deserve to win. But there we go. But listen, thanks for tuning in. If you've liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and have a great day. Bye now.